Hello and welcome back to another Magic the Gathering video. Today I am carrying on with my standard set review and we are looking at the black cards. Even the dog has turned up for the black cards. That's how excited we are about black. Black has been the most powerful colour in standard for a while now, and I'm keen to see if that continues with the Brothers' War. So without further ado, we will start with Ashnod the Flesh Mechanist. This is a 1-drop legendary creature. It's a human artificer, which is interesting in itself. It's a 1/1 with Death Touch. Whenever it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, create a tapped Power Stone token. 5, exile a creature from your graveyard. Create a tapped 3/3 colourless zombie artifact creature token. Gosh, there's a lot going on here. A 1/1 Death Touch for 1 is fine. I mean, sometimes that's enough to make something playable in a deck in itself, but none of it's legendary. But when it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, create a tapped Power Stone token. So I guess what you want is ideally 2-drop creatures that do something when they die, of which there's not really lots. There's a couple of 1-drop creatures, particularly in Alchemy. I could see this being good. Because you've got the Warlock and the Ghast. The 2-drop creatures, there's not really a lot going on in Standard. There's the Doomed something. There's a 1/1 that dies and gives you a 2/2 zombie, but still it's not great. I think it's alright. I mean, because the tap Power Stone token, if you've got something you're aiming to ramp into, could be decent. But I don't think this is brilliant. The legendary nature puts me off. Legendary 1-drops are hard to run because you want 4 copies of a 1-drop to make sure you hit them on turn 1, but you don't want 4 copies of a legendary creature, so they're kind of like an oxymoron in themselves. So I'm going to say no on this one for now, but it has some potential. This one, no, that's the classic sort of when it dies, put it, yeah, no. It goes into your hand as well, so that's really not great. This is a 3-drop 1/4. No, that's too expensive, even with that reduction. Too expensive. This is a no. Corrupt deals damage to any target equal to the number of swamps you control. You gain life equal to the damage dealt this way. Costs 6. So in a mono black deck, this is basically a March, the Black March card that we had before, +1 damage, but fixed at 6, and only if you are mono black. Yeah, this isn't very good. It's too expensive. It could potentially be used as some kind of weird finisher, maybe in black control decks. I don't know, but no, not going to see this very often. Diabolic Intent 2 sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this, sack a creature, search your library for a card, then put that card into your hand and shuffle it. So tutor something for 2 and a sack. Yeah, that's good. Because Diabolic Tutor effects typically cost 4. Being able to do that for 2 when you probably have creatures that you want to sack, especially when it seems to be loads of tokens floating around in this set, artifact creature tokens, I would suggest that this is very good. I'm almost certain that this will see play in some kind or another. It's going to enable combo decks. You could just search up for an Invoke Despair if you want. I mean, yeah, this looks really good to me. Disciples of Gix. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for up to 3 artifact cards, put them into your graveyard, then shuffle. Unless there's some combo that needs multiple artifacts. This is a no. I mean, it's cost 6. It's probably a no anyway. Target creature at the moment. We've had this figure before. It has seen some play. If there's lots of aggro, this will be good. Otherwise, it won't. Dreams of Steel and Oil. 1 black sorcery. Target opponent reveals their hand. You choose an artifact or creature card from it. Then choose an artifact or creature from their graveyard. Exile the chosen cards. That seems really good. I'm pretty sure there's a card called like Divest, which was that you reveal an artifact or creature from their hand and they discard it. Being able to do that and from their graveyard and exile them. I mean, it just feels really good. I would say this is really good, and we'll see a lot of play. Yeah, that's a really nice card. Emergency Weld, artifact of creature from your graveyard to your hand, meh. Fateful Hand of 4, draw cards equal to the mana value of target artifact or creature you control, and opponent gains control of that permanent. This is kind of situational, I suppose. If there's a card that does a big negative buff on you, this will be nice, artifact or creature. If there isn't, this won't be very good. I guess if you can unearth something and then give it to them and then it dies again, maybe, but I can't see this getting a lot of players. It costs 4, so even if it draws you a lot, it's probably not great. You know, if this targeted like enchantments, you could use it on the like I can't remember what it's called, the card that comes out of the flying 5-cost artifact demon in alchemy, but no, I don't think it's going to see a lot of play. Okay, Gix Yawgmoth Praetor 3. It's a 3/3 legendary Phyrexian Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life. If they do, they draw a card. Okay, so if you deal damage to an opponent with a creature, you can draw a card for each creature that does it. So it's like a curiosity on each of your creatures, but you have to pay 1 life. 7, discard X cards. X cards are your opponent's library. You may play lands and cast spells from among a card's exile without paying their mana costs. So I would suggest this sounds pretty good to me. A 3/3 for 3 is fine. Dealing combat damage, drawing cards is very nice. When you can clear the way with things like Cut Down and Grasp, I would say that's very nice. Especially if you get to draw cards for getting in and replace them. And then it gives you a weird top end that you can, if you play this in a low curve aggressive black deck, it gives you a top end that you can draw your rubbish cheap cards or your destroy that you're not using anymore, and replace it with, well, whatever you find basically. I mean, I don't see this effect being that useful, but it will be the odd thing that makes a difference. It's mostly for this top effect, but I think, yeah, this will definitely see play, and it's a kind of a build around card, so I'm definitely keen to give it a go. It'll be good with things that fly, it'll be good with cheap things that we can clear the path for, or death touch things like this thing. Yeah, I think this is going to see play for sure. Gix's Caress. 3 sorcery, reveal their hand, discard it. No, that's rubbish. Gix's Command. It's 5 cost, choose 2, so black command card. Put 2/1/1 on up to 1 creature against lifelink. Destroy each creature with power 2 or less. Return up to 2 creature cards from graveyard to hand. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the highest power. Okay, this command is much better than the blue one in my opinion. It is one more expensive, but it actually looks half decent. Being able to like clear out the opponent's cheap creatures, buff yours, and go through with lifelink. You could buff a creature that has lower than 2 with the first mode, and then destroy all with. Yeah, it has the potential to be a one-sided board wipe, because you could destroy each creature with power 2 or less and make them sack their highest thing. Yeah, this looks really good to me. I think that the flexibility of this, it's never going to be a 4 of just because it costs too much, but as a 1 or 2 of in a black deck, it looks really good. Whenever you sacrifice another permanent, put 1/1 on it. It's not awful, but probably not going to see huge constructive play. The Gixian Puppeteer is a Phyrexian 4/3 Warlock for 4. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Okay, we've got a bit of a Sheldred effect going on there. And when it dies, return another target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Wow, okay, so a creature that's got a strong effect that then replaces itself with something that costs 1 less. It's a bit of a build around because of the draw thing, so you need to be drawings. It could be a blue-black card, it could be just a black deck, but yeah, this will you'll definitely see this cropping up. I mean, it's expensive, but the fact that it replaces itself with something, I would say, makes it viable. Especially if that 3-cost creature, which I don't know, can help you get this back in any way, or can make you draw more cards, or, you know, it's just a powerful thing like the Graveyard Trespasser or something. Yeah, I think this looks pretty good, but it's a bit of a build around. This one is a limited card. This one is another 1-drop. It's 1/1 A rat for 1. When it enters the battlefield, target player mills 2 cards. And then when it dies, target creature you don't control gets -1, -1. So it's got the kind of ghast -1/-1 effect, but it mills the. I know you can mill yourself too. Yeah, you're never gonna. I don't think anyone's playing a mill the opponent deck here, but as a self mill to reanimate from, this could be good. This will definitely see play in some kind of reanimatory decks. Yeah, I'm sure that there'll be some reanimator stuff going on, especially with all the expensive artifacts around. Probably will see a lot of play. Go for the throat. 2, destroy non-artifact creature. So it's a grasp that doesn't cost 2 life, but only non-artifacts. Yeah, obviously will see play. Although there are lots of artifacts, there's still more non-artifacts. Probably something that will see play, and in best of 3 could be boarded out if you're against an artifact deck. Obviously, if the best decks in the set turn out to be artifact creatures mainly, this won't see as much play, but in general, yeah, that'll see a lot of play. You draw 2 and lose 2 life. Meh. You see quite a lot of this type of effect up for 3 mana, and they don't see play. This isn't going to swing games massively. Grueling Anointer is a 3 costing 1/3 fly. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a 1/1 on it. When it dies, return another type creature with mana value less than or equal to its power. Okay, so it sort of synergizes with this one. They both want you to draw 2 cards. You can get this back from the graveyard with this, and then you might even be able to get this back with this if this manages to grow enough. So yeah, there's some definite synergy between the Gurgling Anointer and the Gixian or Gixian Puppeteer. Yeah, I think this will see play if this sees play. Hostile and Negotiations is a 4 costing rare instant. Exile the top 3 cards of your library in a face down pile, then exile the top 3 cards of your library in another face down pile. Look at the cards in each pile, and then turn a pile of your choice face up. An opponent chooses one of those piles. Put that pile into your hand, and the other into your graveyard. You lose 3 life. Okay, so you look at 3, you then look at another 3. Okay, so you could choose which one to show your opponent, and then they choose one. So if they don't like the look of the face-up one, they'll choose the face-down one. But you can't control what's in the piles. So if one's really good and one's really bad, then that's not very good for you, because you'll show the bad one, and they'll just give you the bad one. Whereas if they're both, if you just prefer one slightly more than the other, you'll show the other and hope that they give you the face-down one, I guess. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I love it when you get the choice and your opponent gets a choice in a card. I think the design is really nice. It adds like a bit of an open element of bluffing and stuff into it. So I like the design, just from a theme point of view. Hostile Negotiations is funny. Will it see a lot of play? I don't know. If you're into like drawing cards like in this way, you're probably just going to splash blue instead of messing about with this black interaction. But on the other hand, draw 3 for 4 in black at instant speed, and you do lose 3 life with a weird element of choice to it. Yeah, I don't know. I quite like it. It might see some play. Killzone Acrobat. When it attacks, you may sacrifice another creature or artifact. If you do, it gains flying. No. Misery's Shadow is a 2 costing rare shade 2/2. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. That is always a nice effect to have. Particularly with a lot of these dies effects going around. I'm thinking about these 2 cards here again. 1, Misery Shadow gets 1/1 until end of turn, so it's also somewhere to dump all of your mana. And also, a threat of that when you attack and they have to block is brutal. I think this card looks amazing. Probably one of the best cards I've seen in the set so far. I would say this is one of the few I've seen that is do definitely go out and craft this, because this will be good no matter what the set does. I mean, I'm thinking about this paired with the Yawgmoth Praetor already. It's looking really nice as an aggressive black deck. Yeah, that looks very strong. Whatever, combat trick, no one left behind, 3 less if it targets return. Yeah, this will see play as a reanimator. I mean, I've mentioned reanimator a couple of times now. You can reanimate something small or cheap, sorry, for less, for 2. Or you can save it and reanimate to make big. Yeah, I think that's actually a pretty nice reanimation card. Overwhelming Remorse is rubbish. Painful Quandary, 5. Enchantment, rare. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, the player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. I mean, it's expensive and it will only go in certain decks. It's a bit of a build around card, I would say. Because to get to 5 and then for this to be a useful effect, you're going to need to like keep clearing the board or killing things. So in a destroying, clearing, boardy type deck, this could be good. This could be the win con you need. 5 is just a little bit expensive, but then losing 5 life is a hell of a lot, and people won't have cards to discard. I guess if you play this and half your cards are discard and half of them are destroy, it could be fun, but hard to know whether or not it's quite going to make the cut. Sacrifice an artifact or creature, destroy target creature or planeswalker. I mean, that even could see use. I mean, compared to the non-artifact one, maybe not, but yeah, it could see some use. This one, it's limited. Thran, Vigil, 2, enchantment. Whenever one or more artifacts or creatures leave your graveyard during your turn, put a 1/1 on target creature you control. So, well, we've already covered off a couple of little reanimatory type things, especially the No One Left Behind, which can reanimate cheap stuff cheaply. Yeah. There's loads of ways to make stuff leave battlefields. I'm thinking immediately back to the Green Geist. That's a 1-drop that gets bigger on its own when things leave the battlefield and has trample. Leave the graveyard and has trample. I'm definitely going to try this out. Whether it's good or not, hard to say, but it looks fun. Limited. Ashnod's Harvester. It's 2, costing 3/1 artifact construct. When it attacks, exile target card from a graveyard. That old effect, and then unearth for 2. I mean, it's definitely going to have some potential. I mean, it competes against Graveyard Trespasser, but it has the same power and the same effect, except it doesn't gain you a life and cost them a life. But with Unearth, this could just be a sideboard card at the very least, but it could actually see main deck play as well. A 1 costing 1/2 that enters tapped, and it can return it from your graveyard to your hand for 3. Meh. That's rubbish. Goring Warplow. Limited. Okay, this one probably won't be limited as it is legendary. Mythic, I mean. 7 costing, again, 7/5 Menace Lifelink. And it has ward, pay life equal to its power. And it can be a 3/3 Menace Lifelink for 3. Yeah, that's good. Ward to me seems like one of the strongest effects that they've put in play for a while. It was the replacement for Hexproof effectively, but if you have to pay 3 life to remove a 3/3 Menace Lifelink, well, that's pretty nice. And obviously you could buff it and it becomes more. Yeah, this one looks really good to me. We'll definitely see play. Definitely going to be in the type of deck that I like to build, like an aggressive deck. Menace creatures with lifelink are nice in races. Yeah, looks good. Okay, this one, 2 costing 3/1 artifact creature zombie. It can't block. Return it from your graveyard to the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it for 6. This costs 4 less if an opponent controls 4 or more non-basic lands. Okay, so depending on whether the field is dominated by monocolour decks or not, I suspect it will not be, given that there are a couple of like multicolour planeswalkers and things. This could be 2 return this to the battlefield. This looks good. I'm sure this will have a use. A 3/1 that comes back isn't brilliant on itself, but we've seen quite a few different little sack effects and stuff. Bringing it back as a 4/2 for 2. Yeah, this is definitely going to see some play. The fact that it can't block obviously does take away from it, but yeah, I think it'll still see play. This is rubbish. This is a 3 costing artifact. Tap, sack a creature, add 3. Sack a creature, create a 3/3. Meh. I mean, it's got some ramp attached to it, which may help us get to like being able to cast this for 7 or something, but I think it's a bit slow. Especially since it's going to set you back a creature as well. Transmogrant's Crown. It's 2 it's an equipment, which makes me think it's rubbish, but it gets 2, and whenever it dies, draw a card. Equip for 2 or a black. So you can put this on for a black, and then it gives you a card when the creature dies. I mean, there are sacrifice effects in black, and this paired with the Transmogrant looks like a nice attacker, as you're going to have a big attacker that you draw a card and it keeps coming back. Maybe this isn't the worst equipment. As far as equipment goes, this one looks half decent. I'll tell you what, I'm excited to play black. I mean, out of all the colours so far that we've done, black looks fun. There's lots of interesting things going on here. Even Ashnod is exciting. This card looks really, really good. This card looks really, really good. Yeah, there's loads I want to play with here. Definitely keen to give black a go. I think the star for me out of this is Misery Shadow. This looks amazing. I could be mistaken, as I always say, but this one looks really, really good to me. I can't wait to stick this in some black aggressive decks and have some fun. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. That is 3 colours done now. We've done white, blue and black. I'll move on to red and green later today. But if you did have any thoughts yourself about the cards, or want to see any particular decks built when the set goes live, please do leave me a comment. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.